Peter Liciaga here, and yeah, this is a very interesting topic for me today. But earlier this morning, of course, I get up at 4:30, around 4:30, between 4 and 4:30. So, like every other day, I got up today with no problem. It was great getting up, very excited, and every morning I get together with a group of guys early in the morning, and we it's facilitated by, now it's becoming a good friend of mine, Ed, and in this group is mostly men in this group, and there's probably some people. It's online where we come together online. But anyway, Ed pretty much gets us to thinking, beyond, just gives us very interesting questions. It gets us really thinking. Today was no exception. He asked a question today that had me really going deep and thinking, and I wanted to share that with you. And it ties into who I am right now as a martial arts instructor. Of course, I teach at Donato Karate Center. You can just go to donatokarate.com to find out about our programs there where I teach. You can even call us at 856-235-0414. But there's the reason why I do what I do today, it has to do with my journey, my life. And so I want to share with you, first of all, this question that Ed had asked all of us, and really got me, once I wrote my notes down, then once I got offline, we left the group was over, I really went deep. And so I really spent probably about 2 hours going deep on this and making some notes, and I want to share that with you guys here. But it had me thinking about, when I was 16 years old. And when I was 16, there's a picture of me when I was about 16 years old. About this time, I was basically living in the streets, going back and forth, or about going to the street. You can see I had a nice big afro there. But growing up in New York City in the Bronx, there was a lot of issues going on in my family, and then the neighborhood. There was just a lot going on in my life. And when I look at this picture, I remember that this was a time that I really did not like myself. I could not look at myself in the mirror because of the choices that I was making, and I did not really, care much about who I was, what I was. There was no hope. So when I look in this picture, I see beyond the smile, beyond the eyes. I get to the truth of who I was during this time. And I struggled with these feelings, and even darker feelings. And I'm not going to get into the darkness of that, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But I struggled with this probably until I was in my mid-20s to early 30s, as I started processing this. And of course, as I got to my mid-30s, it started evolving and changing. I started growing, and life was really, I started making a lot of great choices. And it wasn't until I was about probably early 30s that I was able to really look at myself in the mirror and be proud of who I was, and actually, love what I saw. And of course, now to this day, that I'm really proud of the work that I'm doing, the work that my wife and I are doing in the community, and I'm proud of that. But when I was 16 years old, I did not like myself at all. So let me talk about this question that my mentor, I look at Ed now as a mentor, because he just goes deep, and I love this guy, and he's just incredible how he thinks and how he's able to go deep in a powerful way, at least for me, and also those of us that are in the group, because we've all shared the same sentiment. And the question was this. He said, what would my answer? He said, what would your answer be if someone were to ask you this question? And the question is this. If someone came to you, someone came to me and asked me, how do I create change in my life? And I know parents come to our school at Donato Karate Center, students come there, and basically this is what they're asking. They realize they're somewhere, whether they want to improve their health, their ability to defend themselves, or their ability to be focused. They come for a reason. They want to make a change. They want to create change in their life. And so I'm asked this on a daily basis at Donato Karate Center. And so this for me was a very interesting question. And off the top, I had easy answers, very quick answers. But he really challenged me to go deeper. And so I decided to do that, take the time to do that. So the number one thing that I was thinking of was really somebody coming to me, let's say like this young Peter. He's 16 years old. He's made a lot of horrible choices, has no idea what he wants to do in his life. Matter of fact, he feels like, he means absolutely nothing. He has no sense of value, no sense of worth. And matter of fact, he thinks that he's useless and that the world definitely doesn't know that he's there, and whether he's alive or not won't make any difference at all. And this is Peter coming to me today. And then for some reason or another, he has like a little glimmer of hope with something that I said, so much so that he asks this question. And this question has been asked of me many times over the last 20 years that I've been with Donato Karate, even beyond that. Okay, but he asked this question: how do I create change in my life? I don't like where I am. I don't like looking at myself in the mirror. I can't stand myself. I can't stand what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I can't seem to stop, and I just don't like who I am. How do I create change? And so what do you say to someone like that? What do you say to someone like that? So I have to go deep. And some of my notes here that I wrote down, I'll share this with you guys there. Then I'll get to a couple of things that I would really say to them and really get a little bit more practical, so that you guys maybe could, like a friend of mine would say, put shoes to it. Maybe you guys can take this information and think about it and then go into your day. But, it's, I think right here, what would you do? What would I say to this person that said that? And my number thing that I wrote here right away, I said, respect yourself. And respect yourself and love yourself. You got to get yourself to that place where you can respect yourself. And I told him, what I would tell them is really, you have to be honest. And that's something that we're talking to our kids about this week. I'm not going very deep with them, but I want to go deep here, because when Ed asked that question today, I had to, tell myself, Peter, be honest. Really be honest. What would you say to someone? And the biggest challenge that I had in my life during this time was really, that I was feeling that I was never ever going to be enough to have value. And so what do you say? So my first thing I would say is that you got to know yourself. You got to know who you are. Be honest, and be honest of who you are. If you made mistakes, be honest and own up to those mistakes. And that's one thing that I know when I was at this age, was that everything that I did, I blamed other people for. I blamed my parents. I blamed the street. I blamed the neighborhood. I blamed the gangs. Every choice that I made, I had an excuse. So I always was living in this pity party, and that I blamed everyone else. And my recommendation to Peter right now, if he were to sit in front of me and ask me that question, how do I create change in my life? I would say, you need to know who you are. You need to know yourself and be honest. And know the choices you've made, that you made these choices, and that you are where you are right now, feeling what you're feeling right now because of the choices that you made. And the reason why I would really, push that as number one is because if we blame other people, blame circumstances or situations, we take power out of our own hands. And we say that we are powerless to what happens to us. We are powerless to the people doing things to us, and we are powerless. Now, I'm talking about what's going on here in our minds and what's going on in our hearts. External things can happen to us. People can do things to us externally, abuse us and all this. Circumstances can happen. You get into an accident and everything like that. But in your head, if you can say that, you know what, I have the choice to overcome this situation, this experience, because I'm going to choose and to ask better questions, as opposed to, why is this always happening to me? Why am I always doing this? Why is it bad? And blah, blah. Instead of asking yourself, how can I come out of this? How can I survive this? How can I overcome this? So Peter asking me a question like, how do I create change in my life? That's a powerful question, because that question leads to an answer that brings solutions, resolutions. That's a powerful question, better question than, why is this always happening to me? Why am I always, why am I so stupid? Why do I have to make these dumb choices? Those questions really lead down a path that continues to bring you, because you'll find reasons. Your mind will find reasons why. Because you're worthless. Because you have no education. You have this. You have that. You're this. Blah blah blah. You're a minority. You're this and that. You're too short. You're ugly and all this. You'll find those answers. But the same thing, if you were to ask a question, how do I create change in my life? You'll then program yourself to start looking for those answers as well. So my number one thing is know who you are, know what you're doing, and be honest. And not only know, and embrace and accept and take ownership of your mistakes, but also get to know your talents, your gifts, and asking the question, what am I good at? What do I do that I believe I'm good at? I'm here. I know there's something great about me. So what is it that I do that I'm great at? And so know who you are. Know and spend 80% of the time looking at and uncovering and discovering, and become like a detective looking for what you bring, what you do, what your gifts and talents are that bring value to not only your own life, but those that are around you and in the world, bring value to the world. So know yourself. That's the one thing. If somebody were to come to me, if Peter, 16 years old, 17 years old, would come to me and say, what do I need to do to create change in my life? Number one, be honest. Extreme ownership. Own who you are. Accept who you are. And spend 80% of the time finding out why you can be so great. Okay, so that's what I would do. Number two is know your truth. And again, this ties into knowing yourself. Be honest, be truthful, and know what your truth is. And know the truth of the mistakes that you've made, but also know the truth of the talents and gifts that you have, and empower yourself with that. So the truth it's true. The truth will set you free. And so if Peter were to stop and start thinking about his value and his gifts and his talents. And I remember when I think I was in third grade, a teacher, I was in Catholic school at the time, and a teacher, Sister Elizabeth, we had a spelling test, and Sister Elizabeth saw my test at third grade, and she called me, she said, Peter, oh my gosh, you're great. You have a gift for words. You have a gift for spelling. And I'll never forget that. And to this day, that is something that I believe I have a gift for. I have a gift for words. I love words, and I'll go as ridiculous as always wanting to find the origin of it. I remember one time my grandfather, he and I had a conversation, and I was talking about when I was living in Germany, and a conversation that I had with my instructor, and we had a misunderstanding of words, and I was talking about faith, and he thought I was talking about fate. And we had this 2-hour heated discussion until we realized we were both talking about the wrong word. And I shared this story with my grandfather. And my grandfather, we started talking about linguistics. And I told him that I was fascinated with words and language. And it just fascinated me. And before I knew it, in the mail, he had mailed me a book about linguistics. And so I remember it started with my teacher, Sister Elizabeth, telling me, Peter, you're great with words. You can spell words. And to this day, I really embrace that gift and talent. And so know your truth and accept it. And so I would tell Peter, you are great at something. Uncover that, discover that, and find that truth. Okay, yes, you're not perfect. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. But the truth is, you can overcome that. You have everything you need to overcome that. And this is what I would tell Peter, 16-year-old guy who's asking me the question, what do I need to do to create change in my life? Number three, it would be this. Number three is have the courage to be you. Find out who you are. Accept the truth. Accept ownership for your mistakes and for your gifts and your talents. When you make a mistake, learn from it. Accept all that. Accept you and have the courage to be you. I remember, about this age here, 17, 18, 19, I changed my name. And there are people in this world right now that don't know me as Peter. And I had a name, I picked a name, and I'm not going to tell you what that name is, but it was a name that for years that was my name. and it had nothing to do. It was just a name I picked out of the air that I thought basically was a name that I think fit the person that I was. The person that I hated, the person that was a street gang thug and did horrible things. So this person, this name that I chose, I have many people that I grew up during this time, and I'm talking about probably about 7 to 8 years. Everyone knew me as this one person. Even to this day, there are people that know me as that name, and not as Peter, but as this name. And so I didn't want to be me, because I didn't want the truth of that. It was scary, and for my whole life I tried to hide from that. And so the number 3 I would tell Peter right now is to know who you are, accept who you are, accept the truth, and then have the courage to simply be you and build you up. So that's what I would share with him. Now, there's a couple things I want to share with you. Now that with those 3 things, I would tell Peter, you know what? You got to create goals. You have to create things that you can now do. Now that you know who you are, you accept the truth of it, and you're going to move forward courageously, being this person that you know, and being honest. Look, I'm messed up, because at 16 years old, 17 years old, I was so messed up, and then something happened. I had a major violent experience that I left New York at this time, and I wanted change in my life. And so once I decided to have change in my life, if Peter was here, I'd say, accept who you are, have courage, be you. Okay, what do? Well, now you got to start creating goals. Now, back then, I had no idea what to do. I had no one there. I didn't have someone like me. Like, I love being a martial arts instructor because I have an opportunity to guide, direct, lead, inspire, motivate, and encourage young people and people that are old. Doesn't matter. I have that opportunity. When I was young, I didn't have anyone directly in my life that took the time to pour into me, that really stands out. There are people that came into my life that did plant seeds in me, that helped me along the way. But I really, like now with our students at Donato Karate Center, they come in, and I invest in them, knowing because my mindset is to raise them up in the way they should go, because I don't expect them to get it at that moment, but I know when they would. But I'm there. I didn't have that. Peter did not have that. So he was on his own trying to guess. If he were to ask me, what do I need to do to create change in my life? I said, well, know who you are, accept who you are, and be courageous about being you, and then have goals. Now that you accept all that, now if you know that, create goals. Now, there's this acronym called SMART, right? Specific. It was a SMART: specific, measurable, achievable. And let's say what's the R? The R is R. I forget the R. And then the T is the time base. You guys get the idea. You've heard that many times, and I just forget what that R is. Maybe you could type in below what that R is. But how about the acronym HEART? And I heard this from another gentleman who's he's into the brain, how the brain works. And so I heard this from him. And I would recommend this to Peter. Peter, create heart goals. So have your goals based on what's in your heart, what your passion is. Not so much what's in your mind, in your brain, okay, but in your heart. And so the H would be this: healthy goals. Okay, in your heart, you need to be healthy. Know that. And know that you need to have a healthy mind, a healthy body, a healthy way to process your emotions, and a healthy way to basically to have core values and to have a spiritual growth, so that you can embrace all these areas: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, in a very healthy way. What are your goals? Create goals. Okay, today I'm going to take care of my body in this way. It'll be physical fitness, it'll be nutrition, and it'll be rest. Okay, now I want to take care of my mind. So I'm going to rest my mind, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to read, I'm going to make sure I take in information that builds me up, that encourages me, that inspires me. Okay, and then I'm going to take care of my emotions. What do I need to do to process my emotions of anger, of frustration, of disappointment, of hurt, of pain? Because we all have pain and hurt and anger. So what are we doing to create healthy goals to be able to process our ability our ability to live with our emotions. So these are healthy goals. So that's the first H of heart, having heart goals. The next one is this: enduring goals. Create goals that are enduring, habits that are enduring. In other words, we know that life is going to throw things at you. They're going to, life comes at you. I'm saying all the time, fast, furious, and ferociously. You're going to have the ups and downs of life. It's going to punch you in the face. It's going to kick you in the butt. It's going to slam you to the ground. So the habits that you create need to be enduring. These goals that you create, they need to help you endure these tough times that life will bring to you. And we all know through these tough times, it creates resilience and strength and confidence. And this is where my wisdom actually comes from. It's rooted. My wisdom for life is rooted in the harsh, hard life experiences that I was exposed to. So that's the E, enduring goals. Next, heart goals is alluring goals. In other words, creating goals that excite you, that give you a sense of purpose, and they pull you forward. They draw you forward, and they pull you. You know that if you do these goals, you'll be better, and you're excited by them. So these goals need to be alluring. You need to be excited by it. It's like that carrot that you see in front of you, and then you're running toward it, fighting towards it. Stuff gets in your way, you just move out of the way, you jump over it, you go under it. Sometimes you crash through it, but you want to have goals that pull you to it. They're like a magnet. And so alluring goals, and it comes from the heart. That's why it's not so much the head, because you can create smart goals, and they're all smart, but unless it comes from the heart. I remember years ago I read a book, and shepherding your child, and it was this book to help my wife and I really have some insight as we raise our children in the way they should go. And one of the chapters spoke about helping us with our children and helping them have the right behavior. And the idea was that you can, yes, punish your child, you can discipline your child in a way that changes their behavior, but if you get to their heart, get to their heart, they will then want to change their behavior. So it has to come from the heart. So alluring goals, comes from your heart, pulls you forward. It's like a magnet. So the R now is relevant goals. Relevant to you, not relevant to anyone else. Too many times we see people go on Instagram or Facebook, or they go somewhere on the socials, they watch other people, and they start creating goals based on what other people are doing and not based on themselves. And I've done it. We've all done it. And so know from your heart, these are your goals, because you know who you are. You've been honest to yourself. You're being truthful to yourself, and you're going to have the courage to be you and grow. So your goals are going to come from your heart, and they need to be relevant to you. Relevant to you. And the next one, T, of course, truth. Your goals must be true to you. Again, we're talking about you getting to know who you are, you being courageous to be you, and that's your truth. And other people may come to you and say, oh, don't do that, don't do this. You may have these crazy dreams. It was a crazy dream for me to want to leave New York. That was a crazy dream, because actually society said statistically, I was going to be an abuser with substance and people, that statistically that I was destined to fail. That's what society's statistics told me. But that was not the truth. Okay, I had to look at who I was. I had to get to know who I was and know that I was wonderfully made, and that I had gifts and talents, and that I had a lot to offer myself and a lot to offer the world. And then when I decided to take that up and go with that, people thought I was crazy. And people thought I was crazy when I wanted to be a dancer. People thought I was crazy when I wanted to go into to theater. People thought I was crazy when I wanted to start my own business. People thought I was crazy when I wanted to become a martial arts instructor. People thought I was crazy when I wanted to start teaching martial arts for a living. Okay, people still think I'm crazy now, but it doesn't matter, because that's my truth. So let your goals be true to who you are. true to your passion, to your crazy dreams. I love it. A friend of mine, Charlie, that I follow, and he's an incredible thinker, and he's way out there, coined this phrase, give yourself the permission to dream crazy. And whatever your dreams are, just do them, pursue them, chase after them, because that's your truth. And whether you realize the dream in its fulfillment, it doesn't matter. It's that journey, and life is meant to be lived full out, exciting. And I have 43 years to 100, so I'm expecting these next 43 years to continue to be more and more valuable, where I'm bringing more value to my own life and bringing value to others. And so truth, let your goals be your truth. Okay, guys, so I want to leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I pray that you guys have a blessed day. I'm going to get back to work, and it was a powerful morning for me. And I see a couple of you guys there joined in. And Kelly Mariano, we all have something we are good at or great at. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that, buddy. I hope everything's going well with you and your family and the work that you're doing in your community. I know you're doing a lot of powerful work there. And hey, feel free to go ahead and give a link to your website so people can see the work that you're doing in your community. I know you're working with small businesses and doing a great job there. But guys, you have a great day. If you want to find out about the work that we're doing at Donato Karate Center, because that's where I spend a lot of my time there working. We've got over 300 students there that represent families in our community in Mount Laurel and Burlington and the surrounding areas, and we're serving the community the best that we can. We've been doing it since 1993, 94. I've been with Donato since 99. So if you want to find out about our class schedule or find out about more about what we do there, go to donatokarate.com or just call us 856-235-0414. You can also text me. If you have anything to share with me and you want to share privately, directly to me, just text me 856-278-5282. You can definitely call this and leave a message, but and I'll check the message. However, the text is great because I see the text there, and right away I see the words, and it's especially if it's encouraging, it gets my attention because I'm all about inspiring, encouraging, and motivating energy and words. And because we have enough negativity in the world, so my commitment is to be inspiring, encouraging, and motivating. Even when I tell stories of my mistakes, because those are lessons. That's my wisdom. My life experience is based on my real life experience, isn't it? So anyway, guys, have a great day. Talk to you guys soon, I'm sure, later on today. And reach out to me. Good day, guys. Let me go ahead and sign off. Bam.